Hello everyone, my name is Finding Pepper and welcome back to another episode of the Tile Scrolling Expansion Series, where I will be expanding on Griffpatch's Tile Scrolling Platformer series. And the link to that can be found in the description. So, today we will be making conveyor belts. This will directly build on things that I've done in the on-off blocks episode, so if you haven't watched that, I recommend that you go and watch that and then come back to this one. But let's get started. So the conveyor belts will be powered, or their direction will change based on the state of the on-off blocks that we created earlier in a different episode. So we'll have 16 conveyor belt sprites. These are for animation, so for red going right, 4 for red going left, and 4 for blue going left, and 4 for blue going right. It's good if you have them in this order. So the first thing we'll have to do is create these in the editor sprite. So I'll look at the tiles that I want, tile 82 for the red one, and tile 91 for the blue one. So we'll go into editor and look at the tile keymat list. So in here we'll scroll down to the bottom and add another 6 at, what did we say that was? Yes, tiles 82 and 91. So we'll add blank values here till 82, and then we'll add another 6, and then at 91, then we'll add another 6. So we can click off that to save it, and hide that tile keymat list. Next, we'll need to make sure the shape of these is defined. So all of them are solid. So we can just go down through the list and put a hash at all the places where there are tiles. And just to make sure that I got the right amount, I'll go and check. Yes, so it goes down to 98. We can hide that list. And if we play our game, then we can go into editor mode and press the 6 key until we see our conveyor belt tiles. Here we are, so we can place them. Then we can place these two. Yep, place them down on the ground. And so now we can stand on them, so they are solid. However, they are not animating and they're not transporting us. So we'll do that next. So to make them animate, it's fairly simple. We'll go into the tile sprite, and down at the test bump, we'll see here it says tile equals 20 or tile equals 24. These are the animating tiles, and that will animate the tiles. So we'll duplicate that and grab another ore. Sorry about that. And these tiles, we said we have 4 of them because there's both the 2 we put into the tile keymat list. Those are the 2 we can place, plus the 2 alternate states for when the on-off block is switched. Alright, so we need to get another ore in here, and then these. So I have a tile at 82, and then 82, 86. So yes, 82, 86, 90, and 94. So if we play the game, we should see that the conveyor belts are animating. So that's great. So yes, so now we'll have to do the speed. But these are animating a little bit slower than I would like. They're animating at the same speed as the question mark blocks. So I would like these to be a bit faster, because right now this will just be like really slow. So we'll get an if else, and then we can test for these tiles. And in the else part, we will put the one we already have. And in the if part, we'll change it by timer times 20. Now I'm gonna put this back here and we can test it. Aha, so that's a much better speed, and you can see that the question mark blocks are still animating at the right speed. So now it is actually time to make Mario move when he's standing on top of a conveyor belt. So to do that, we'll need to make a new custom block and call it check below feet. And we'll run that without screen refresh and move it into some free space. Next, we'll insert that block on the Move Sprite X custom block. It's right there. So now, we can begin coding up this custom block. So what we'll do is we'll get tile at the block below Mario's feet. So X, we'll just use Mario's X position. And then the Y will be Mario's Y position. Minus his height plus 8. Height plus 8. There we go. And then that will be the block directly below Mario's feet. But you might notice a little bit of a problem with this, because if Mario gets to the end of the conveyor belt, and then below him, directly below him, there will be air, but like to the left of him is still the conveyor belt. So he will be stuck on the side of the conveyor belt and not moving. So we will have to check twice. Once for his X position minus 16, and one for his X position plus 16. Alright, so we'll have the same script on both of them. So we'll check if the tile is equal to the moving platform the moving platform tiles that are moving to the right. Sorry, not moving platform tiles. Conveyor belt tiles that are moving to the right. So those will be 82. Let me just get the tile variable in here. And 94. Alright, so in that case, he'll be moving to the right. So we can just simply change his X position by 8. There's no fancy speed X here because the conveyor belt is moving at a constant speed, so we don't have to worry about acceleration. And then we'll just stop the script. Now we can duplicate this and check if the tile is one of the conveyor belts moving left. So those would be 86 and 90. So then we'll change x by -8. Now it's time to check for the tile below his feet and to the right. So now instead of this x plus 16, we'll use an x minus 16, we'll use an x plus 16. Okay, so there's one more thing we have to do before we can test this. So when Mario is being pushed left by the conveyor belt, we're just changing his x value. So we're just changing his x value. So when he gets moved into a block, the game will be like, oh, Mario's inside of a block, we better push him to the top. So that's not really what we want. So we need to check if there is a block to the right of him when he's moving right, or if there's a block to the left of him when he's moving left. So we'll grab a get tile block. It's my favorite block. And we'll check for when it's going here when we're going to the right. We'll check the block to the right of him. So we'll say x plus the width plus 8. So let me just code that up real quick. So that'll get the block to the right of him. And then for the y, we'll just say y minus 16. That means like the block directly right of him. Because his y value is like right in the middle of 2 blocks, so we'll just check for the bottom block. If that is true, then we'll say if the tile shape is a hash, that means that it's solid, then we'll just stop the script. Okay, now we'll do that for the other ones. I'll probably just delete this bottom one, or just take this off for now and then use that to duplicate it. I forgot about this when I was doing that. So here we'll replace this plus for a minus to check the block left of him. And we'll leave this. So just put that here, and then now we can duplicate this and then just put it right below. There we go. So that should be that script ready. So let's test that. So the first thing we need to do is walk onto the conveyor belt, and if we don't go up the wall, that's good. Great. So you see it is a little bit glitchy when we're getting out, but this is the only solution I could figure out to that problem, even though it's not a great solution. And we are moving left or right from the conveyor belts, and at about the speed that the conveyor belts are going at. So that's pretty good. Alright. So you see these on-off blocks here? Those I added in the other episode. So I want the conveyor belts to change direction based on the state of the on-off blocks. So to do that, we'll go into the tile sprite and look under the test bump block. Okay, so I realized that I did this kind of badly. I put everything under this test bump, and I feel like I'm going to split it into 2 more blocks, or 2 blocks total. So I'm going to make a new block and call that can't spell, animate tiles. And I'm going to move the animation under here. So basically I'll take this out. Move this all into the animate tiles block. Just put that over there. And then I'll grab this. And I need to say, I need to check if the tile is 20 because this is the question mark block. I believe that's right. Hold on, let me just check if that's right. Yeah, 20. So that's if the tile is 20. Alright. So that should do exactly the same thing. I'm just trying to clean it up a little bit. Let me just make sure it does do the same thing. Yeah, so you see these are animating. That's fine. We never called that one. So the question mark blocks are working exactly the same. So we will have to put an animate tiles in here. And then these we still have in this else place, so we'll take those out and replace that with a block called update tiles. And this is for when the on-off state changes. Alright, so now we've compressed these into just 3 little blocks here. And I believe that's better than having it all in this one test bump, and it's better than having it all in this else condition. So, under update tiles, we'll also check for the conveyor belts. So, if I remember correctly, those are 82, 86, 90, and 94. So, we just need to make sure those change state correctly. It's basically the same idea as these, so we can duplicate these and then just change a few things. So firstly, we want to change the tiles. So if the tile is, I believe, 82, that's the first one, the red moving right, or 90, and that's the blue moving left. So these are the ones that will be when on-off is 0. So then, instead of a +1 here, we'll do a +4. So that's just basically shifting it 4. So if it's 82, it'll become 86. That's moving left. 90 will become 94, and that's moving right. So here, we'll do the same thing. We'll say if tile equals 86 or tile equals 94. Then we'll check if the on-off is 1. That means we should switch it back. So -4 instead of +4. Great, let's see if this works. Okay, that works. We can check that that is working well. Alright. Okay, now there's one more thing we have to do before we can wrap up this episode. So we want the enemies to be also controlled by the conveyor belts. So we'll go into the Mario sprite and just drag the check below feet into the enemy sprite. Okay, now I have it over here. Just move it off into some free space, which just happens to be quite a ways from me because there's so many things here. Alright, so here we go. Now we'll want to call it from somewhere, and that would be in the move sprite X function, or custom block definition. So, we'll just take this and put in and check below feet. Okay, so there is one thing we have to do, and I completely forgot about this and went to testing it. Instead of 16, I probably should have done this earlier, but I'll just, since most of the enemies are 1 block tall, you know what, I'll just do y minus height minus 8. We'll see if that'll work. Boom! There they go. Alright, and they are really struggling walking backwards. That does look a bit glitchy. And that's mostly because if we just look at the Goomba speed. I mean, it's not really that much. So that is why they are just being held in place there. So I believe that is about it for this episode, and I'll catch you in the next episode. Goodbye. Have a nice day.